and welcome back. Without much ado, I would like to first invite the session chairman, Mr. P.C. Srivastava, on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mr. P.C. Srivastava. P.C. Srivastava. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon. I think Mr. Suresh Gupta has already told this difficult session after lunch. So I want to hear big good afternoon. So yes, everybody is awakened. So in this panel discussion, we have 5 speakers. I think from yesterday, we have been listening various speakers, stalwarts of the petroleum industry. And I think the theme which has been kept for this Petrosafe 2016, excellence in safety. And almost all discussions, presentations have harped on that whatever facilities you have in your installation, they are to be maintained. There have to be a system of preventive maintenance, and over and above, trained persons to operate it. And you cannot think of a safety culture or inherent safety attitude, whether he is the plant head, a middle level executive, or a lowest operator. So not only the basic qualification, the 3-level operators have to have a sense of responsibility and attitude towards implementing safety. I think many speakers yesterday also have said, after an incident, when we analyze, we come to conclusion that many processes, corrective actions, which should have been taken were not taken. It was very well known to those in charges of the plant that we are lacking somewhere, but maybe some procedural delay ultimately results to an accident. So the basic discussion in this session is on this topic only. We have 5 panelists today. I will give a brief introduction one by one. Mr. Robert Shaddick is General Manager, H Energy. He holds a degree in chemical engineering from Melbourne, Australia, and he is having a dual citizenship for Australia and UK. He has more than 35 years of experience in design, engineering, and management of engineering onshore and offshore oil gas pipelines, refinery, LNG, and petrochemical terminals in Australia and overseas. He has extensive experience in contracting industry, complemented by experience in operating companies, currently General Manager in Engineering with H Energy. I think Mr. Vijay Rao is not there. Then we have Mr. K. Satyanarayanan. He holds I think he is Chief Executive Officer, Opal. He is BE Mechanical Engineering, and I think from Bangalore University, and he has over 30 years of rich and diverse experience in ONGC in various facets of management, such as leading critical projects, achieving efficiency, organizational transformation, optimal utilization of resources, enthusing competitiveness, synergizing team, and crisis management. He is a well-known name in the field of drilling technology and operations, and having drilling of more than 200 wells. Really, I think we need a big applause for Mr. Satyanarayan. 200 wells in his tenure as DM Drilling Engineer Head. Now we have next panelist is Mr. Ramaswamy Ravi. He is senior member CCPS. He also holds a degree in chemical engineering and master's degree in engineering management. His area of expertise is process safety management. He is also having more than 35 years of experience in fertilizer, petrochemical plants, refining, oil and gas industry, operations, pre-commissioning, commissioning, and process safety audits. Presently, he is Senior Vice President, Reliance. He was holding post of Senior Vice President, Reliance Industries till 2013. His special achievements have been papers in CCPS Global Conference in Process Safety and Hazard Area, Sessions Chairman, Co-Chairman in GCPCS Annual Symposium, and also had guidelines and engineering design for the process safety in various industries. Our next panelist is Mr. A. Ramanathan, I think a stalwart in petroleum industry, presently holding Senior Executive Vice President Projects and HSC in Reliance Industries. He holds a BSc Technology in Information Technology. His area of expertise are project management in refinery, especially infrastructure, off-site, tank farm, execution of instrumentation, systems control, and prevention measures. He is holding more than 47 years of experience. I think many of us may not have this age also. 47 years of experience in hydrocarbon industry, and he has to his credit of installing 5 refineries in our country. I think that is also one of the great achievement I think one person may boast of. He has exposed in all facets of engineering, particularly in refinery sector. He has been with Reliance for more than 20 years of now. He has effectively functioned as member secretary in rules review and amendment in the committee formed by Chief Commander of Explosives, and he is a life member of ISA. And our last panelist is Mr. Raja Devnath. He is Principal Oil and Gas, DuPont Sustainable Solutions. Mr. Devnath also holds degree in electrical engineering from NIT Kurukshetra. His area of expertise is operator risk management and safety culture transformation, I think, which is a core subject to be discussed today. He also has more than 26 years of overall experience in the DuPont Sustainable Solutions. His achievements have been consulted many large operations in oil and gas sector, metal and mining industries, petrochemical in India, Middle East, in South Asia. So to begin with, I would like to say, I think my colleague Mr. Gupta in last session, he has dealt that whatever regulations PESO is trying to administer and implement in India, largely they are self-regulated type. We have the broad guidelines. These are the rule requirements framed after, means you can say if we go by petroleum rules, framed in 1899. And they have been getting updated with the technological advancements. So we have been revisioning rules time after time. Similarly, our explosive rules, which is not subject today, and then associated field gas cylinder rules and SMPV rules. Though SMPV rules were framed in 1981, they have gone under major upgradation to include all the latest technology, and draft rules are already in the website. And on behalf of PESO, I would request all the members present here who are having any interest or dealing in this subject, please go through it and give your very valuable comments so that the rules, when they are coming to final stage, they come to the greatest expectation of the industry. The very subject perspective in enhancing safety culture in hydrocarbon industry. I know means maybe any unit set up 40 years ago has got many upgradations and technological advancement, and owners have tried to implement latest technology in all the spheres of operations. Simultaneously, the management system which company should have also have to keep pace with this advancement. And I am happy to see, being in head office of PESO for 8 years, the instrumentation and automation which has been brought in, really we can say we are at par with any part of the world. And PESO has taken initiative in granting approval to many foreign manufacturers on their instrument, which normally supposed to be installed and having applications in hydrocarbon industry. So one of the major leap we can take to eliminate the human interface, where we have largely attributed any cause because of certain human flare, not taking immediate actions or not coming to the notice of any deviation in the normal safety operations. Automation will have a great effect on pre-warning any malfunctioning, any deviation from the standard parameters, will give a lot of inputs to you to take a preventive action before anything goes wrong. So I would like the panelists to dwell especially in their respective areas so that our delegates have a open view and they will be able to achieve and implement best safety practices in their respective installations and thereby achieving a zero accident, which is the need of the hour today. So first I will like to call Mr. Robert Sadek to share his experience in this line. Mr. Rodrigues.
Namaste. I have a plane to catch in an hour or so, so I'm going first, and then if you see me sneak out, you'll understand why. I have to get to the airport. I've had a fantastic time in the last 2 days. I think we came to talk about a safety culture, but in reality, I think everyone in this audience probably already has a safety culture. Our challenge then is really to grow that culture into the rest of the organisation and the rest of the community. People have already spoken that, you know, the safety culture should be driven from the top. The CEOs of all the companies must be the ones who take the ownership of this and drive it. It must be a multifaceted approach to safety. There's no one single answer that fixes it. There'll be continuous improvement needed. But all that safety culture must go beyond the workplace. There's no point our people being safe while they're at work only to get themselves injured or on the road. So to achieve excellence in the hydrocarbon industry, I believe that we need to bring the whole population along with a safety culture. I think there's a bigger picture at stake. The hydrocarbon industry will always lead the general population in safety culture, and so it should, because we're dealing with, you know, highly flammable explosive materials on a day-to-day basis, and so we should have that culture. But it cannot be that there's a growing gulf between the rest of the population and the industry itself. So I'd like to throw out a challenge. I think the industry as a whole will improve no matter what we do, but I think that the real challenge is to bring the population of India along with us. Now, people have talked about the road accidents earlier in the presentations, but the data I have is that in 2004, the World Health Organization announced there were 240,000 people killed on Indian roads in that year, and the number is increasing. That's basically 10 times the death toll of Bhopal incident every year, and that puts it into perspective of the magnitude of the issue. So I would like to challenge everyone here, and including all the leaders of all of our companies, to lobby the government or challenge the government to do whatever it takes to tackle the road safety issue as the first step in developing a safety culture in the community, because I think that's actually the way that we will be able to improve safety within our own industry. Just like, I think that's a great first step, and it's a big one, and you should be prepared for a long fight. It's probably a challenge that will take 40 or 50 years to get hold, and we need to be prepared for that challenge. Thank you.
So Ravi Ramaswamy, please.
Outset, I like to thank PESO for giving us this opportunity to participate in this grand conference. I just want to ask you, all of you, one question. When you move from here to Crown Plaza Hotel, have you seen the zebra crossing for the road? Yeah. So the zebra crossing is there, and then the divider comes, and then other side the zebra crossing is there. So I am a very culture conscious person, safety conscious person. I want to follow the road safety, want to cross. But the way the design is there, I'm not able to follow my culture. So when we start talking about safety culture, the first thing, the prime importance is the safety in design. The safety in design is, they say it's about 70% is contributed for the safety of the operations. And that's where the role of PESO comes as a regulator in ensuring the design's requirements, inherent safety requirements are there. So once we get a safely designed plant, then it is necessary for the team to have a safety culture so that they operate it. So the first thing is safety should not be treated as a priority, it's a value. When somebody says it's a priority, it's wrong, because priorities can change with situations. So it has to be a value in the company. So a safety culture, a good definition of CCPS is that it is what the organization do when no one is watching. So how the behavior, how the company behavior, the board of directors behavior, they are not, even though the regulators are not watching, they are supposed to be conscious about the requirements and follow it. That's what the safety culture. Then, why the need for safety culture? Great organizations have failed. Here there are 3 cases I just want to show you. One is the Chernobyl accident in Russia. This is attributed to the safety culture issue when the whole Russian design and the operations procedures were found to be a lacking safety culture. Then the Columbia shuttle issue, the NASA is a great organization sending people to moon, but the shuttle crash was there, and it was contributed by a safety culture of, normalizing the deviations. There were some issues in the shuttles, and they were accepted as a normal. Same way the BP Macondo. So it's evident that the culture is a very contributing factor in major catastrophic accidents. Next, when we talk about culture, there are 2, next one, there are 2 culture. One is personal and process safety. It's about hard hat safety and the prevention of catastrophic incidents. So there should be clarity in the company about personal safety and the process safety. The personal safety consequences are smaller, but the process safety consequences are higher. So process safety culture is what required in the hydrocarbon industry. Somebody who insists on wearing safety hats may overlook bypass of safety interlocks. So what is more required? The safety interlock bypassing is a very critical factor in a hydrocarbon safety. So there should be a clarity in what culture we need there is a need for a process safety culture. Next. And this culture, they say there are 6-7 contributing types. One is the informed culture, reporting culture, learning culture. It has to be a flexible culture and a just culture. The just culture is about treating people when the refraction, when there is a deviations, the people, they should be fairly treated. It's not that a boss, if he doesn't wear a safety shoe, you allow him, and if a worker doesn't wear, you punish him. So the culture in the company has to be just. It has to follow that. And in instituting the safety culture, leadership is very important. Next, please. Rules, standards, procedures are not enough. Company should have a culture, and the culture starts with the leadership. And leadership is at all levels. And there is a statement that 7 key safety leadership characteristics are there. One is the leaders have to be credible, they have to be action oriented, they should have vision, they should be accountable, they should be communication, collaboration, and feedback and recognition. That's what the characteristics. And hydrocarbon industry, there is need for leadership in operation, and the leadership culture is very important for the safety culture of the company. And next, please. Next. So core is leadership and culture, and there should be risk awareness, there should be information, there should be competence, and there should be finally action. So this is what constitutes a need of the hour for the hydrocarbon industry in my view. And the way forward, next. One is carry out a culture assessment in your company. Assess the safety culture. How strong is your safety? In this BP, after BP Texas, the Becker panel has done a good safety culture assessment. And that can be a model for carrying out this. And the second is improve your company leadership behavior. How can they do more for safety? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ramaswamy. Now I invite Mr. A. Ramanathan to present his views.
Good afternoon. Here actually the people sitting and left and right of me are all experts in analysis, whereas I am going to come from the angle of as an end user or as a project manager, what should be the discipline and culture should be inculcated in the company, right from the CEO to the last grade helper in the factory. This is what I want to cover. As D.K. Gupta said in the morning session, that we should take the PESO rules as only a guideline, but you should carry out your own homework at all phases of the project. When I use the word all phases of the project, like Gupta being a chemical engineer and myself and Gupta discussed several times, and Ravi as my ex-colleague, and he both are saying that PSM should be carried out, PSM study should be carried out at all phases. What are the phases? Project conceptualization phase, then P&AD ready phase, then mechanical completion phase, pre-commissioning and operation phase. And also the discipline should be there in the company that any MOC when you are carrying out, you should study the complete analysis saying that by incorporating that MOC, where can be the impact and where can be the knock-on effect of that has to be analyzed before clearing the MOC for execution. Now what we are talking is actually, then the culture, when they say that no plan can be risk-free. Risk is there. But people at all levels should understand what are the risks we are facing or we are handling day to day and be aware of it. As my boss actually, Surya Rao says, as well as DKG said in the morning, you should look at that as if you are going to be there or your child is going to be there, so that have that consciousness. Otherwise, somebody else is going to handle, why should I bother? It should not be the feeling. You should think it saying that as if you are going to face that risk yourself. That should be the culture to be inculcated in the company. Then also the people at all levels, being an operator level or a plant manager level or a shift manager, he should know saying that what are the barriers incorporated and how they are incorporated. They should know it. Otherwise, actually, the barriers are there, that will function like that. You should not say that. Another important point is saying that, because people always, the human, this one saying that, yeah, this is a nuisance value alarm, why not I bypass it? Or they say that I have to make my productivity, so I'll trip bypass, I'll do it. These are the catches where the designer has analyzed everything while designing it, incorporated it, but operator or the field fellow takes a shortcut, and that may not show on the day one, but it can take you by surprise any day. The next is actually the attitude that like Vivek yesterday said it like that, the chalta hai attitude should go away. We should have that feeling saying that as if every day you are going for examination, that examination fever should be there, because the challenges can come anytime. So when you are in the shift or when you are in the plant area, concentrate fully and don't carry over your household problems in the plant and then you are neither here nor there for the problem. And also the plant leaders, I'm not only talking top management, the plant leaders should always actually look for the weak signals. If there is any symbology saying that something can happen, immediately he should pay attention and he should put the people on the job for the weak signals. And lastly, I want to say that as I said that 47 years there, I am feeling sad sometimes. Because of this IT revolution which has come in the country or in the world also, between 1995 to 2010, none of the engineers have gone into the chemical industries or plant. So we have got a vacuum of the experienced hands. So it is our duty and responsibility that we should pass our experience and knowledge to the next generation before hanging your boot. That is where actually myself and Vivek, we talked saying that Guru Shishya Parampara should be followed. That way, whatever our forefathers said, Guru Shishya, that should be there. Only thing is that mentor, if we are calling it a mentor, then it may not work it, because today's youngsters' attitude and our old attitude is different. So how to handhold him and how to pass on the knowledge or pass on the culture is very important. So basically what we are talking is actually quality procedure, effective communication and sharing of knowledge, and execution stick to the defined procedure. Don't take shortcuts, because saying that, like yesterday I raised the question, same thing for the truck driver stress, somebody was saying no. Saying that now our aim should be there in this forum that has come to that, how to reduce the stress. Like our foreign colleague said, even in America the same problem is there, driver is getting stressed out, he says. That means actually our thinking should be there, saying that how to ease them. He cannot take over his call, he has to do that, but how to make him saying that so that his stress is reduced. That is where in the safety or any risk we are talking, saying that no plant or no task is risk-free, but how to bring it as low as possible should be our objective. Then after that, like whatever, since yesterday we are talking is that if sharing of knowledge between the companies also should take place, because it's not that if I tell that I will become cheap or something. It's better that if you share it, saying that in this industry that this sort of things can take place or this incident can take place, so that when I am implementing a new project or a modification, I should have that in mind, saying that this is the industry experience, so that I should keep in mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ramanathan. Now, I request Mr. K. Satyanarayan to please put his point of view.
Thank you very much. CCOE, Mr. Kamal, who is present here, and all other officials of CCOE, dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, my dear participants. Let me first compliment for the pain what the PESO has taken as a regulator to organize such a wonderful conference, which is the need of the hour. And also they have kept the task very objective, that is excellence in hydrocarbon safety. And you are all aware, we are all in the business. Right from exploration till the product reaches to the end user's house, every activity is highly potential for the hazards. These hazards are such, they can create catastrophes. And they can create damage to the human, damage to the societies and the environment. And many of you have heard about the accidents, and which has created a huge impact on the people, is Piper Alpha. More than 165 people got killed. And recently in 2010, the BP accident has taken place, Macondo, which has very seriously damaged the environment. And it has even crippled the company. So these kind of things, this particular business has a potential to create very huge damage. Therefore, and it is apt, and at this point of time, we have to speak not just safety, we have to speak excellence in safety, as far as the hydrocarbon industry is concerned. How this excellency is going to be achieved, and you must have heard a lot of papers since yesterday. I am not going to go to that. The prevention of the accidents and the controlling of the accidents, the management of the accidents. And you have to be involved in the preventive activities so actively, and accidents will take place bare minimum if they are not zero. So you have to have a control activity, and simultaneously once the accident takes place, in what way you are prepared yourself to handle that. These are the three important issues which we have to address to have the excellence in the safety. For doing so, I have three perspectives. One is design perspective. When you conceptualize any package or any kind of industry within the value chain of the hydrocarbons, and you have to carry out the Hajab study, and based on that you have to design the equipment, design the processes, design the procedures. And accordingly we have to execute the things. We have to understand one thing, design is not for the sake of just design. You have to follow when you are building the equipment, when you are executing the plant, when you are doing the processes, and also when you are making the procedures for running the plant. And unless and until all these things are addressed, there is no point of discussing anything on design. Then coming to the human perspective. So you have everything in place, equipment is intact, you have all the systems are in place. And if they are not properly maintained, if they are not properly operated, and it is not going to give the envisaged results. So human perspective is very important. So what is the really problem with the human perspective? And when you really study the case studies, the investigation reports of the very big accidents, and you will really see the human perspective is 100% involved in that. What is the real problem? And one of the major issue is lack of knowledge. We commit the mistakes because of lack of knowledge. Another issue is complacency. And we know everything, need not to be worried, and safety is not required here. So there are certain people who get into that kind of a mode and get into the serious accidents. And complacency, and finally the negligence. And as far the human perspective is concerned, these three things are to be addressed. Whatever the systems we generate and whatever the technology we bring in and whatever the trainings we give in, and all these three issues once we manage, and definitely the errors, the mistakes, what the humans do, and due to which this accident takes place can be reduced. And also, it is not just for the workforce who are doing at the plant side or we are doing at the site, and it is also to be inducted into the management style. Safety is a top-down process. The management has to understand the importance of the safety. Not only they understand the importance of the safety, they have to know the safety. They have to know the procedures and processes. And many of you are aware, when any manager goes to the site, when any manager talks to the down-the-level employee, they talk about the production and other issues. And today, what is the production? How much barrels we have produced? And how many tons of this, some particular product is produced? And what is the revenue and what is the profit and loss? And very few people go deep into this thing and question the people what exactly happening in the area of safety. If at all some incident has taken place, to what extent top management is going there and investigating the incident and getting so deep into the people and analyzing that and addressing the issues. And this is very much essential. And nowadays, of course, situations are forcing us to do all these things. And for example, the regulators are there. They are nowadays coming out with a lot of serious acts. And public is not even leaving us today. Whenever there is an incident, the first man to be caught hold of is the CMD of the company or the CEO of the company. And they are even going for criminal cases and all these things. So by default, the top managers have to enter into the safety aspects to ensure that the operations are taking place as safe as possible. And I sincerely feel, and it is my feeling that if the head of the company feels that he has to carry out the operation safely, yes, it will happen 100%. And coming back to my last perspective, it's the regulators. And we have to inculcate a kind of a safety culture or whatever it is. Whatever we are doing in terms of safety or in terms of the process, it is not for the sake of regulators. It is our process. We are doing all these things for running our business so safely. We are doing all these things to earn more revenue and more profits. And without safety, no business can survive. Therefore, this kind of a culture has to come each and every individual, right from bottom who is working at the machine and top up to the board level. And there are occasions when you really go through some of the investigation reports, and even the regulators' powers are also to be enhanced, and they also have to keep a watch on regular basis, and they are there to watch us what exactly we are doing. but we are not doing for the sake of fulfilling the regulators. I think we know, normally I am not telling anything new, and if you really go through, many of you must have gone through the investigation reports which have taken place within the country, also overseas, and all these issues are addressed. But to what extent those recommendations are implementing, and even before implementing, what kind of a due diligence we are doing, and if we think all these things in most meticulous way and follow, I hope definitely that we can reduce the accidents and we can achieve this excellence in hydrocarbon safety. Thank you very much.
So the last panelist is Mr. Raja Debnath, Principal Oil and Gas.
Very good evening to everyone here, and first of all, thank you, Chairman Sir and PESO, for inviting me to come and share some of the perspectives from a DuPont point of view. First of all, I would like to just share, and I think you can all recollect that we had an incident where one of our honorable minister had died on a road accident. And we all know what happened there. And what is the learning that we, each one of us here sitting in this room, have taken post that incident. That is just a sharing, and I believe it's my sincere expectation that we all sitting in this room will take that learning and ensure that we too follow and buckle up. The second thing which I wanted to share is one of the senior leaders once asked me, Raja, you tell me, why does an incident happen? I said, because he goes to work. Okay, fine. But why does he go to work? Is it because he has to earn his bread so that he can feed himself, his people, his children? But if he has to go to work and get his pay, he can do by, by putting his attendance. He doesn't have to go and really work. Then why does he work? He works because in the evening, his supervisor or his boss will call him and ask him, tell me what is the production, tell me what have you done. Had he asked, what safety issues did you have? Did you face any problem while running this equipment? Then he will get safety, and he will be safety conscious, a culture. So in DuPont we say, you get the level of safety that you want. If you want it, you will get it. If you just say, then it will be just words. So coming back to this hydrocarbon industry, and like my panelists have said, risk is there. You cannot wish away that risk. You are managing this risk. But the risks are not all the same everywhere. Second, the risk is not static. It is dynamic. So what you did 1 year or 2 years back is not a guarantee that it will give you the future performance. So you have to continuously monitor and engage your people and manage this risk. And one common thing which we have seen is risk perception. You have an incident, everybody starts talking about safety, 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 safety. Culture is, we have to do culture. And then all of a sudden, after 6 months, 1 year, everything fine, then get back to your normalization. So this up and down of, perception, the value is not good for the culture. So we have to reduce this perception of risk or the variability in the perception of risk in the entire organization and in the entire population. I think someone said that, we are anyway managing a lot of risks and hazards. But I have seen in most of the companies, there is still a lot of confusion between what is a hazard and what is a risk. But nevertheless, all our efforts, and I think yesterday the senior management, the leadership team which was sitting in the morning said, why have we not learned from our past? The reason is because all our assets, all our equipments, all our fleet is designed, is constructed, is operated, and even dismantled by human beings. So there is a human element and there is a human interface when you work around with all of this. So we need to understand why and what goes into the human mind. And many organizations have done many things here. I think we started with something called behavioral based approach, BBS. That's one approach where it talks about what the consequence is going to be. Is it a negative consequence or is it a positive consequence? A stick or a reward? Based on this action, the behavior will happen again or will change. So the behavioral approach says an action leads to an action. And it is happening since the 70s. Over a period of time, psychology has come in. So we really need to understand what goes into the brain of the person. And this is called cognitive approach. In a cognitive approach, what happens, there are, like in the last 1.5 days, we have got so much of information going into our brain. And when it goes, there is something called RAS, a reticular activation system. And this is based on your experience. This is based on your values, your beliefs, and also your biases. So many of us sitting in this room who are hearing me will say, okay, fine, yeah, I heard it, fine. Oh, yes, he's right. Because there is a bias that works. And there are 3 types of biases. One is the optimism bias, which says, this will not happen to me. The second is a status quo bias, which means, अरे मैं तो ये 20 साल से करता आ रहा हूँ. So what's wrong in it? I have been doing it for 20-25 years. And the third is called the current moment bias. And the current moment bias is, I'll take forgiveness later if something goes wrong. Let me go ahead and do it. And nobody has bad intention. Everybody has good intention because they want to do good for the company. But that bias comes in. And why does this bias comes in? It is because earlier they have taken a deviation or they have done this and nothing has happened to them. That gives them a confidence. And that is called, incremental rationalization. So every time I make one mistake or do an error and I get a positive reward, so it gives me a confidence that yes, I can do it. So that incremental rationalization gives you the confidence that I can take that risk. The third approach is called the social approach. And in all organizations, you have these social norms. These social norms are non-written, informal, and nobody is trained in these social norms. For example, if I have to go to a temple or somewhere, the social norm, and based on my values and beliefs, I will open my shoes and get inside. The social norm in DuPont is, if you are getting up or getting down a stair, you will have to hold a handrail. And if you don't hold a handrail, there will be someone, your junior or a senior, will come and stop you and say that you need to hold the handrail. That's a social norm. So people are exposed to this social norm, and that's how their behavior also happens. Fortunately, in DuPont, the social norm is equal to the rules and procedures. But in many others, the rules and procedures is one and the social norm is different. So we really need to get these rules and procedures equal to your social norms. The other thing which I thought I'll just add is culture. There is a culture, there is a safety culture. And like Ravi said, we need to assess where we are. From DuPont perspective, we say there are 4 types of culture. Reactive culture, dependent culture, independent culture, and an interdependent culture. Reactive culture is, I see an accident on the road, and then I decide, okay, I have to wear a seat belt. Dependent culture, or I don't wear a seat belt, I go, I see a policeman, then I wear a seat belt. Independent culture, I get into the car and my hand automatically, buckles up. Interdependent culture is when you sit in the car, there's a colleague who sits in the car, you don't start the car till he also wears the seat belt. So these are 4 types of culture, and we need to know and assess where we as an organization are in this cultural curve. Reactive, dependent, independent, or interdependent. So many companies have worked on rules, procedures, so you'll move from reactive to dependent. But you have to move from dependent to independent. Then you have to work on values and beliefs and your social norms. And so each one of us in this room are the sultans, are the Salman Khans. Everybody else is looking at me. If I can change and if I will change, others will look at me and they will also change. Like somebody said, Mahatma Gandhi's quote, be the change you want to be. And so that's how we need to go ahead and take this forward. The last thing I would like to request each one of us sitting in this room, if you have to change a culture, specifically in a hydrocarbon industry, ask 4 things. 1, ask to yourself and ask to your colleagues, whosoever you meet, what are the top 3 risks in your work area? And see if that is same with all the other people. What are the top 3 risks in your area? The second question you ask, what are the top 3 controls or barriers for these risks? The third, will these barriers and controls work when on demand? You have invested a lot of money, but if it doesn't work, so will this work when on demand? And the fourth, have you tested it? So with these thoughts, I would like to leave the audience so that we can take this forward and improve the safety culture. One last thing, I think yesterday somebody said that for road transportation we have nothing. I would like to say that if you implement PSM, and in DuPont it is called PSM on wheels. If you implement PSM on wheels, your road transportation with respect to this will be equally taken care of. With that, thank you very much and wishing you all the best.
Thank you, Mr. Debnath. Delegates here have listened to our 5 panelists, and I hope whatever have been told by these speakers is very relevant, and everybody looks at the particular problem in his way. But what Mr. Satyanarayan has said, I really appreciate whatever he has been in his mind and he wants to share with us. Everybody should think on those lines, particularly human perspective. Normally it is found it is always involved in an accident, and whether we have improved, if something was happened previously and whatever conclusions were drawn, where any improvement have taken place or not. Similarly, Mr. Roberts said that road safety issues, what I think it was raised by other speaker also, it also has to be given top priority because risk involved there may entangle very innocent persons if something goes wrong. As Mr. Debnath has dealt very perspectively risk perceptions, I hope where we are talking of in hydrocarbon industry, risk is always there. Only you have to see what is the hazard, what is the risk, how much we are prepared, and can we tackle it if a situation comes. So I hope the message which our delegates try to convey, please think twice before entering your process area, and what Mr. Devna said, you ask these 4 questions yourself and think you will be much better informed, and once your colleague and your junior or seniors both are in your line, I think we will be able to achieve the target what we want, zero accident for the industry. If not, at least we minimize to bare minimum, which where means something natural calamity initiates an accident where we may not have much things to do in a small point of time, but ultimately we will be able to have a proper growth in this industry which India is trying to achieve. As yesterday our Joint Secretary said, India is trying to emerge as one of the best manufacturing hub in the world, and we as a hydrocarbon industry, we will play a very pivotal role in going ahead in this mission of our country. Thank you.